sad. It's our last paint episode. Hi guys, welcome to the last, and I swear it is the last, of my 4-part series on color. So by now you get the psychology behind the color you want, you've got the basis of color theory, you understand warm versus cool, and how to choose that perfect shade. Now, we're in the meat and potatoes of what it means to use that color. It's bottom of the 9th, and it's time to bring our guys home.
The bottom of the 9th inning.
Or whatever that saying is.
Oh my Lord, it's a home run!
A quick disclaimer before we start. The last episode, we used the trusty Fandex to understand the spread of warm and cool colors and find that really yummy sweet spot. I want to make sure this point comes across loud and clear. Fandex are not meant to choose color from, they're only used to start the process. It is a tool to figure out the range of options, and then you have to test several walls. You need to check them several times of the day, several times at night, until you find the winner. Okay? Clear? Let's move on. So it's time to take all that we know from the last episodes and combine colors and do what we call color scheming, which is creating that harmonious balance of mood, color, tone, feeling, and of course aesthetic within your space. So how do we do it? Number 1. So sometimes I approach design and I know that I want some color, but not a lot. So I approach it with picking one color, maybe that's blue, and I look on my color wheel for a complementary color scheme. So blue would be orange, red would be green. It's any color that sits opposite each other on a color wheel. So for example, in a nursery that I did, I chose wallpaper that had green and pink, and I paired that with gray walls that had more green undertones. In another example, this is a room with a super saturated yellow sofa and blue walls. I did not design this, but it gives a really clear picture of opposites on a color wheel. Number 2, a monochromatic color scheme, meaning one color used in a space or multiple values of one color in a space. For example, here's the Siren Hotel's Candy Bar by Ash NYC, who I am obsessed with. They used a mix of warm reds and pinks, and you can see it just works really harmoniously, and it's really only one color. This next example shows more warm blue monochromatic scheme by Hanes Paint, showing a living room and then enfilade to that, a bedroom, versus a more cool bedroom by me, where I paired a fun wallpaper with a cool toned paint, which happened to be magnetic. And we paired it down the walls with a more darker, warmer blue for the bed and blankets and drapery. The third is called triadic, which is taking 3 colors evenly on a color wheel. It doesn't matter which ones you choose as long as they're even. So for example, primary would be red, blue, yellow, and then as we move forward, it could be, green, orange, purple, so forth and so on. Number 4 is an analogous color scheme, which are colors that are found next to each other on the color wheel. So for example, green, yellow, yellow, blue. I don't know who designed this example, but it is a great one of an analogous scheme where you can see these warm blues and purples balanced really perfectly together. In this example, a company called Carpet chose to use a bright yellow flooring and balanced it with a more saturated green on the cabinet fronts. It is super fun, but with the wood elements, it makes it seem really down to earth. Number 5, paint is one aspect of what's going on in your interiors. The next step is considering things in your space that aren't going anywhere, like your floors, your countertops, and your cabinets. I would suggest using that fan deck and pulling out a color that closely represents those materials to start keying off of. Number 6, you must consider light. If the room is dark, you can think about a light color. If it gets a lot of sunlight, you can use a rich dark color. Artificial light will also play a huge role. Anyone remember episode 4? Well, cooler tones, as a recap, tend to be more blue and warmer tones will be orange, and these lights will affect and reflect your paint colors and how they actually look in your space. Paint actually just reflects the light. So what you have in the space matters. And don't forget what happens outside the space matters as well. So if your neighbor's house is red, that light will show up in your house. If I painted a wall white or gray, it'll definitely look different in your house. So test, test, test. And finally, number 7, the finishes of paint. Flat paint, I tend to use only on the ceilings. If your walls are perfectly straight, then I recommend using eggshell. I love to use it. It has a slight sheen to it. It's very durable and wipeable. Matte paint happens to show lots of inconsistencies and tends to be less durable. Satin and semi-gloss are more durable and very wipeable. I use semi-gloss on all the trim, and satin in bathrooms or millwork. High gloss is super fun. I generally use them as accents sometimes on a millwork, like a library when I want to make a statement, or somewhere where I want to create drama and action, like maybe a foyer that you really want to, bring people into your space. And a fun fact, paint looks dry to the touch right away, but it actually takes 30 days for it to cure. So don't wipe or touch it, or try not to bump into it until then. Afterwards, you can go to town. And as far as how much paint you need, most paint websites have a handy calculator that you can use by putting wall dimensions in that will calculate for you how much paint you actually need. All good things must come to an end, but if you have a question with paint, colors, or scheming, you know how to find me.